For this next part, we're going to go to the first floor of the main academic building. And to let you guys know, I'm actually going to pull up a map really quick, just because you guys would have had time to look at it anyway. To give you an idea of the setup that we're looking at, this is the main academic building. This is like the first floor setup. At the bottom, you can see the ballroom. You can see lounges to the left and the right. Those are the main entrances. You got some offices in the middle. Various other rooms, lounges, and offices around here. And then you have the west wing over here on the left, towards the west, obviously. The north tower with its buildings and stuff right there. And in the east wing, which is a larger, more open building. Then you have like the main courtyard. We're going to be in the ballroom, directly above which, above the offices in the ballroom, almost the entire second floor is this library, which you guys can actually see from the ballroom because there are these like huge windows in the top part of the room that you can see into the library from. So like a lot of people are walking around. It's a very big room. Tables are set up. It's very neatly decorated. There's like tablecloths and centerpieces, all of that stuff. There are like candles and chandeliers that are lighting the place up. It's very, very nice in here. A lot of students are in here. It is loud and busy. And I'm actually going to play this song for now just to give that ambient vibe. So I will say, as you guys are coming in, some of you might have seen some interesting things happening recently. Marcel was running around screaming his own name to everyone. So all of you probably would have had some sort of interaction with that. But as we're all walking and filing in, I'm going to let you guys tell me sort of like where you go in the room. Do you sit towards the back, towards the front? Let me know.
Lucian is definitely near the back, and he would probably send up the Dragon Hawk into kind of the rafter area to overlook everything, just in case he needs a better view.
Sure. You send your familiar up, and she sits up on one of the rafters and just keeps an eye out. And a couple people like look and point, and they're like, "Oh wow, that's cool. What is that?" And some dude's just like, "Oh my god, it's a chicken." Definitely not a wizard, that one. But yeah, you are free to like scan the room and look out. You see pretty much all of the students, including our party here. So you're free to act on that at any point. Anybody else?
Marcel would be if there was a table as close to the front as possible, he would go there, and he'll sit on the table itself. Go, and then he's like, "Oh look, it's chickens up there."
Perfect.
And he'll be like, trying to say, "Yeah, this is great, guys. Who's ready? Come on!"
Phenomenal.
And he's like, "Yeah."
Marcel's definitely drawing some attention to himself. A couple of people are like walking up to him and like high-fiving him, but most people tend to stay clear. Everybody else, what's the vibe?
I'm following my roommate around.
For sure. Sivik actually leads you, Denny, and Rosaries all in there together. And he invites you guys like, "Hey, I'm going to grab a table. Do you guys want to sit with me? Yes or no?"
Yes.
I'm going to say... I'm going to stay back here. And I'm going to head towards the back of the hall.
Cool. So he takes you, Leo, up towards the front. And you guys sit sort of like, not necessarily in the dead front, but like sort of off to the side. You guys sit down at a table, and Sivik's like, "That guy, I like him. He's pretty cool."
Yeah, he's okay, I guess.
Denny sort of like, he doesn't talk a lot, but he does pipe up softly and say like, he's an interesting one, that's for sure.
Seems like you and I have the same vibe.
Apparently. So you guys sit there and chit-chat for a little bit, waiting for this thing to start. What about the rest of you? Athira, Gwen, Kieran, what are we doing?
Alright, Kieran's gonna be coming at the back of the group, and he's going to kind of chill in the back, along the wall sort of thing, looking at people, seeing if anyone looks really stressed out right now.
Stressed out? Do any of you look stressed out? Especially towards the back?
I'm gonna be looking right at him as he leans against the wall that I'm leaning against, but kind of a distance away, and I'm gonna be like, "All right."
I'm gonna be on the other corner eyeing both of them. It's gonna
You-
be like a three-way.
Yeah, you all three, like, Lucian was there first, and then Rosaris came in and sort of was a good distance away, and then you guys, like, acknowledged each other, and then Kieran got right in the middle. Lucian and him made eye contact, and then Lucian looked back at Rosaris, and Kieran, you turn around and you see Rosaris back there, and you guys are all just, like, looking at each other.
Standoff.
Completely silent.
I'm gonna just like hold out a small joint and wink at Rosaries and then throw it away.
I'm just gonna look at Lucian instead.
I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna like twirl my hand, and this gust of wind kind of swirls between my finger, and I put out the little whatever thing was smoking.
It wasn't lit.
But
was it?
otherwise,
It's not smoking. I was just showing him I had one and threw it away.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Either way, you guys acknowledge that and just have that like silent, awkward standoff. Speaking of awkward, how's Athera and Gwen doing?
Awkward.
I'm gonna be like heading towards Marcel's direction. I'm not gonna be like at Marcel. I'm not gonna quite interact with him possibly like yet, but I'm just gonna be in that general direction because that's like where all the hype kind of is. And she's just still like taking in the whole space.
For sure. Yeah, you walk up, and at this point, Marcel, like not a crowd, but like a small group has sort of gathered around you. Like Pietro's up there. There's like a human guy with like tan skin and longer brown hair. There's another blue dragonborn who's like on the opposite side of you, Gwen. Or no, she's not blue. I'm sorry, she's white. But they're all just like watching Marcel like lay on this table, and they're just like, this guy gets it. This guy knows what's up. The guy with tan skin like huffs and like goes and sits down at a different table, but the other guys are just like, what's up, man? My name's Pietro. Introduces himself to you. The half-orc that is Rosaris' roommate.
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh, what's up, man? I can't wait for this education. I got here. I'm explosive, man. I'm explosive.
Yeah, man. It's education station.
Rock guy! They start like a chanting crowd.
This white dragonborn girl behind you, she just goes, yeah, education. And Gwen, you see all of this happen. Do you do anything, or do you just kind of watch from a safe 15-foot distance?
I'm gonna kind of join in a bit.
Sure. It looks like Pietro, the half-orc guy that you saw with like the top knot hair, sits down at the table that Marcel's like laying on, essentially. And there are like 2 or 3 other people who are just sort of like chilling in the immediate area. So you can sit down at the table, you can go stand with them. It's up to you.
I'll sit at the table for now.
Cool. You sit down, Pietro looks at you, and he's just like, what's up?
Hey,
I like your scales.
thanks. I like your skin.
Interesting. Marcel, how do you react to this?
Oh, that's a good one. I should come up with that later. Marcel's like, guys, I'm Marcel Akameli. Are you guys also here having fun? What are you guys here for?
Pietro like leans back in his chair and looks at you. At Gwen.
Oh, what, me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just here to help save people. Learn how to do that.
I'm here to do it for that too.
Yeah?
I just love being a hero. I want to be more of a hero. I want to be free. Right, guys? Who doesn't want to be free?
At this point, that white dragonborn girl, I'll actually pull up her picture so you guys have a reference here. She walks up and sits down at the table, and she approaches you guys. She's also wearing like some heavy armor. She sits down and she's like, yeah, I love to save people. I'm with the right group. This is great. She pulls up a seat and sits down. Pietro's just like, man, we got 2 dragonborns already. This is what I'm talking about.
There's always more room.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, saving people's fun and all. I'm just kind of trying to learn how to fight.
Yeah. I see these things for yourself. Wait, do I need to learn how to fight? Nah, I'm good. I just need to pass the classes, get my credentials.
At this point, you guys continue the conversation. You guys are having a good time. Our last one, Athera, what are you doing? This scene, like towards the back of the room, there's a lot of calm people. Like there's some wallflowers. People are sitting in the back, just like drinking the refreshments that are available. Towards the front, there's definitely some more social groups. There's that one table with the guy laying on it for some reason. What catches your eye?
So I'm gonna walk in and see the commotion in the front and just immediately decide, nope, not going over there. Going to look for like the table in the back and then like a table that's in the back with a chair that's against the wall. So like that I'm in the corner and I can just see everything and no one's behind me.
You can go to like the corner table. It's definitely not against the wall. Like there is some space there, but you can just get that like corner table for sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over there. If the table's calm, if there's crazy people, I might.
I'm gonna
change
say
mine.
that there's like no one at this table. It's just you right now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna walk there. I'm gonna take the corner seat per se, and I will just sit down and wait for this thing to get started.
For sure. As you guys are all sitting there having a good time, Mr. Green, the guy's guy from earlier, he's got like he's got a little bit of a belly on him. He's got the glasses, the scruffy brown beard. He walks up on the stage that's at the front of the room and sort of like waves his hands and he says, "Hey guys, just letting everybody know we're gonna be starting here in just a couple minutes. So if you guys can, find some seats, we'll have some professors and our lovely director come in to welcome us in here in just a couple minutes. So let's all start getting ready. Refreshments in the back. You can grab some snacks, but we'll be starting here pretty soon." And he gives you guys a wave like across the room and he heads off the stage.
Hearing that refreshments are in the back, Lucian is immediately going to move to the side of the room against a wall instead.
Sure.
And I think that Lune the Familiar is probably distracted by Marcel, who's yelling loudly and not even listening to my commands anymore. Is probably peering over the edge above their table, staring at him.
Yeah, he's like, or she's up like on a rafter, just looking down, like inquisitively. Like, did that guy just call me a chicken? Like, keeping an eye on him. You go over to the side of the room. I'm gonna say you go to like the right side. And Athera, you are now not the furthest person in the corner. Now Lucian is standing in the corner, like behind you, and you're keeping an eye on the room, but you just know he's there. So that happens. Anybody else got anything that they want to do really quick before we start?
Gwen immediately goes to the food.
Faux show. You got a couple minutes, so you go grab like a full plate. Like there are snacks and refreshments, but you get enough for a like full 5-course meal.
I bring stuff like some of that extra stuff over to the table that I was sitting at too.
Oh yeah.
So other people can eat.
Sure. You set it down, and then like Pietro, and then the white dragonborn girl introduced herself as Beatrice. Marcel. He's introduced himself aggressively. The other two NPCs are just like, "Oh, hey, thanks. We appreciate that." And then they like take some and snack on it while you guys are chilling. As you guys are sitting there, Athera, you're sort of off in the back. You actually see your roommate, Kata, come up to you, and she's with a friend. She brings up this, I believe she is a halfling. Yeah, she's like a halfling girl. She's got vibrant red hair. She's got like floral tattoos up and down her arms. They're walking together, and Kata sees you in the corner. She like waves to you and immediately comes over to you and introduces you to this girl. And she's like, "Hey, Athera, I want to introduce you. This is my friend Barry. We actually just met earlier. We're in the same class. So, do you care if we sit with you?"
Sure, yeah. I don't think any of these are taken.
Yeah, they both sit down, and they immediately begin. Like, you get the vibe that Barry's definitely more of the introvert, whereas Kata is the extrovert that's adopting you guys. So she sort of introduces you guys. She's like, "So, Barry is actually a bard, like me. I'm going into bard studies. I didn't ask what you are. What are you?" "That sounds rude. What class are you?"
I'm a druid. I'm here for the druidic studies.
Very cool. I should have assumed by the plants. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, and then you guys just continue to sort of like talk and chatter. Kata's definitely like leading this interaction though.
For sure.
Last call for wrap ups.
I'm just watching that conversation happening, kind of from across the room, just
Yeah.
watching.
I'll say,
Kaden.
Athera, you do notice that not only is a guy like leaning against the wall a little ways away, like glancing at you guys, but he looks at Kata and then Kata looks back at him and they share like a moment of eye contact. Not like strangers accidentally seeing each other, but almost like you can tell they recognize each other. Nothing more than that, probably.
I'm gonna like lean over to her and be like, do you know the guy that's staring over here?
No, he's such a creep, right? No, I'm kidding. That's one of my friends. We've known each other for a long time.
Why is he standing in the corner?
He's awkward.
I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I could invite him over here. I definitely think it wouldn't hurt, but if he wants to stand over there, I can just let him. He might come sit down with us eventually anyway.
That's okay. I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah, you guys continue to sit there and chatter. We got a couple wallflowers in the group. Marcel's the life of the party up front with Gwen. Leo's sitting with Syvic. You guys are just sort of like watching the actual party happen over there, but Syvic's, just like, oh, I'm too cool for that. That's way too much attention. I can't handle all of that. Oh no.
So Lucian is going to do one more thing. I still have my unseen servant up that probably followed me here.
Sure.
So somebody might see it, but this small plate of like really healthy food is going to float across the room towards where Lucian is, and he's going to look around. And he's going to just take a bite, and then put it back on the floating plate.
For sure. You have that like floating plate beside you, and you're just kind of like occasionally nibbling on it. So you guys are all sort of like in position for this, and after that, you guys watch as a figure appears on the stage. Not walks, appears. So let me pull up one Professor Isomifi Baron. He appears at the front, and immediately the majority of the people go silent, and the few people that are talking, after a couple seconds, you hear other people just like, hey, shut up. Baron stands up on the stage, Marcel cheers, and then like someone else from a little ways away just goes, shh. Baron stands up there. He's got like these very nice ornate blue and silver robes on with like a little orange pendant on the side. He looks out over you guys, gives like a friendly wave, and the room falls silent. He starts off with an introduction. He says, as he speaks, his voice like echoes throughout the room, definitely magically enhanced, almost like a microphone, but not. He introduces himself and says, hello, first years. My name is Professor Isomifi Baron. Make yourselves comfortable. Food and drink obviously provided by the school. Director Lumis will be here shortly to actually introduce our main activities and events, but I wanted to give you guys just a rough schedule of your first few days here. The second, third, and a few extra students for their fourth year will be here after this weekend, but for today we have the orientation activities planned that Director Lumis will be in charge of. Tomorrow you will begin registering for classes, and then the days after that until the weekend we will be doing introductory classes. We'll be getting your homeroom set up with a professor. You will be going to your actual specializations, talking with your professors there, and getting everything set up. I hope you all had wonderful, safe travels. It's good to see a couple familiar faces in here. And he looks across the room, makes eye contact with a couple people, Athera included. And he says, but without any further ado, let me introduce Director Carson Lumis. And he begins to walk off the stage and hold his hand up. A lot of applause go up for most of the students in here. Echoes through the hall, and you guys are left watching as the stage is blank for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. 40 seconds. 50 seconds. 60 seconds. After a minute, some like chatter happens. Baron shakes his head a little bit and walks off stage. And then right whenever everyone's like starting to talk again with a very loud pop, crackle, and like fireworks effects, director Mr. Lumis appears in the hall on the stage. And when he does, a lot of clapping and applause happen. You guys specifically hear Billy and his group just like, yeah, that's our director. But a lot of people cheering and applauding for him as he stands up there, gives like a big bow. Isomifi Baron, which a lot of you guys would probably already know the name of, like one of the best wizard professors here. Definitely an older looking elf, which might sound strange, but like I said earlier, the D&D lore is out the window. Elves age in here. Typically, elves will live to be about 200, maybe 250 years old. Isomifi Baron kind of looks like he is stretching that. He's definitely got like the white hair, wrinkles on his face, a little bit of a goatee on him, just a small point right here. And his eyes just sit very heavy. Lumis, on the other hand, the director, looks very young, very youthful, very energetic. He gives big waves and smiles to everybody, gives a big bow, does a couple of magical flourish, and like, what are those called? Fireworks come out of his hands and light up the room. A lot of people just go, ooh, ah. Some people get kind of scared. You in the front row, you got like a front row seat to this huge spectacle. So Lumis pops up and he begins talking. He's just like, students, it is wonderful to see you all. Oh, wow. What a group of first years we have here. Am I right? Ain't that right, Marcel?
Yeah. Yes, right. Woo!
Yeah.
New year.
New year. Same me. Well, let's get started. All right, y'all, settle down. I'll sign autographs later. First things first, welcome to Lumis, the greatest and the only adventuring academy in Wisteria. And might I say, we earned that title a lot. We have wonderful programs here. We got wonderful professors. We got Mr. Baron over there. We have the wonderful clerics. We have the paladins. We have the artificers, the rogues, the rangers. We have it all. Trust me. Anyways, moving on with our activities today. Don't drop that. And he points out to a random person in the crowd. And then after he says that, you guys hear like a cup fall and clatter on the ground. And he's like, half a second too late. Anyway, orientation for first years. We're going to start today with a very, very, very fun activity. Wink, wink. So we'll get to the boring stuff tomorrow. You'll sign up for classes. I'm not in charge of that. Today, first things first, I need all of you to look around the room. And he pauses for a second to let you guys look around. You take note of all the different groups and people happening here. A couple specifically stick out. You got your wallflowers in the back, who some people like look at you guys specifically. As much as you were attempting to hide, you're standing up, so you obviously stand out. We got our group in the back corner with Kata, Barry, and Athera. We have Gwen and Marcel's table in the front. And then Lucian, Sivik, and Denny, you have like a couple random other first years that you're not really talking to at your table. The place is very full. There's probably 40 to 50 students in here. The tables are mostly filled. There's a little spare room for people to move around. But he says, everybody look around. And then after a second of a brief pause, he says, today, we're going to have a little competition. You guys are going to split into groups of 8, no more, minimum of 2. You have to be at least 2. Come on. Otherwise, it's not a group. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, competition. And the prize? 1,000 gold pieces and a bag of holding for your group. And some extra, like class stuff, but that's boring. We're talking about money here. That's the important thing. So, you guys have 3 minutes and 24 seconds to split into groups of up to 8, at least 2. Go. And he just disappears. Immediately, so many students jump to their feet and start running around. Before anything happens, I have some NPCs that are going to interact with you guys, and you guys can 100% bounce off of that. First things first. The group in the back with Athera, Barry, and Kata. Kata looks to you, Athera, and she says, I'll be right back. She walks over to Rosari's. And Rosari, she leans over to you and she says, hey, I'm going to make you a deal. You group up with my roommate and get like an eye on her and see how you feel. Who's your roommate?
I'm gonna point to the front, right next to Marcel, and say, "It's that the half orc next to the really loud guy."
She smiles and she just goes,
No,
oh,
no, please don't go up there.
She looks at you. She says, I got this. And she walks over and she tells you, Athera, and Barry, she's like, hey, so Rosari's is kind of nervous and doesn't really know how he's going to find a group. Barry, I actually think I found a group for us, but they can only really hold 2 more. It looks like they're pretty full. But Athera, Rosari said that he would gladly pair up with you. Are you okay with that?
I look over, kind of like sus at Rosari's, and I'm like, well, I guess if there really isn't any room left in your group.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. But trust me, I trust Rosari's. He's going to keep a good eye on you and take good care of you.
That doesn't... Okay, fine. Is he coming over here or am I going over there?
He'll come over here.
Okay.
Anyway, toodaloo. And she takes Barry and then like waves Rosari's to come over. She's like, come on. And points at the seat and she dips out. Next.
I'll walk over.
Lucian, you're a wallflower right now. From a couple of tables away, immediately, Billy and his 2 friends walk up to you, and Billy's just like, hey, we heard that you were the only other first-year wizard student. Do you want to join our group? We're the crew.
Is Kieran, the other guy against the wall, still near me? Like, is he still against the wall back there?
Yes.
I'm gonna look at the 3 of them and be like, I'm so sorry. I actually already talked with him over there. I was just waiting. And I kind of sidestep over towards where Kieran was.
As you begin to move, Billy immediately just goes like, yeah, hard pass. No non-wizards in this group. And he turns to walk away, and you see Simon and Nelvin behind him. Simon gives like a very awkward like, sorry, maybe next time. And he leaves out. Nelvin just kind of, well, and they dip and they leave you to your to be. Next, skipping that one, Sivik and Denny are at the table with Leo and a couple others, and they started talking to them, and they have a couple of people there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up their pictures so you can see Leo. Let me find their references. There is a human woman who definitely looks very capable of protecting herself. She looks very strong. She's wearing some armor. She introduced herself as Lucilda. And you, upon hearing that name, immediately clicked and you're like, holy shit, I know this girl. She's from my hometown. I'm assuming you've been kind of quiet, very in character. You don't think she recognizes you yet. The other person that is at this table, let me find their pictures, is a guy named Leofric, and you guys might have had like he's like sitting beside you, and you might have had that like, oh, his name kind of sounds like mine. That's cool. And then the last one is a half-orc girl who was gonna go sit towards the front, but then saw someone there and turned this way and was like, oh, hey guys, I totally recognize you. And she introduced herself as Merble. She's also a half-orc. So they're sitting there, Sivik and Denny are talking to them, and they're all going over like strategy, battle plan, and they're like, okay, we need to, all of us are like different classes, and this is all gonna work. Denny leans over to you because he's sort of like sitting beside you, and he's like, I'm just gonna let you know, Sivik is gonna take this like very seriously. I'm just like warning you, if this isn't your thing, like, you know, hardcore strategizing and being very, very competitive, I'm not gonna be mad if you go with another group. It's okay. I'll tell him that you like knew somebody or something.
No. I think it's not gonna bother me at all, I don't think, but is he this like super competitive?
He's typically pretty competitive. I think he's first day he's being a little bit extra. But
That makes sense.
Denny sort of looks around and he's like, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like super bad, but I'd hate for you to see him like get upset at this because he's taking it too seriously.
It's okay. I think I know someone in this group.
Really?
I do.
Who?
I do. That one, Lasilda. She's from my hometown.
Denny looks and he looks back at you and she's like, she's pretty. He sort of nudges you a little bit. And you guys have this little side conversation. And he's like, well, listen, hey, I'll make you a deal. I don't want you to see Sivik in like his I'm trying to impress people state, because I do think he's a really good guy. You skip him on this one, and I'll make up an excuse for you, and then I will see if Lasilda might have had her eye on you.
Okay.
I'll try.
Which group should I go to here?
He looks around and he's like, that one's already full, that one's already full. There's some wallflowers in the back. I good, quiet, calm. It's kind of where I wish I was, but
Sure.
it is what it is.
All right.
And you stand
I'm gonna
up.
go back here.
Yeah. And you head out. Our next two, Marcel and Gwen, you guys are sitting up towards the front. Oh my god, you guys have a lot of people. Immediately, you guys
Who
get...
wants to join a winning team?
3 people immediately swarm. There's you two. There is Beatrice, the white the white dragonborn girl. Thatch comes up. Apparently, he's friends with Beatrice, the little goblin guy. Pietro's there, the half-orc fighter. Larik comes up, who's like a little more angsty. He's the tan-skinned guy with dark hair. And he's like, if any group's going to win, I guess it's going to be this one. And he walks up. And then a couple more people show up. Barry, the halfling girl with Kata, and Kata, obviously. And they bring along a third person named Calypso, who is like a shorter, like 5'2". You guys can tell that she's some sort of magical caster person. They all crowd this table, and everyone's like, all right, who are we going to kick out? Who are we going to kick out? Because there's you two, and then there is Beatrice, Thatch, Pietro, Larik, Calypso, Barry, Kata. There's 9 people there. So they're all like talking and talking and talking. Like there's people like yelling over each other, trying to strategize and talk about this. It's very chaotic. Nothing's getting done, and you guys are running out of time. Halfway through the conversation, Thatch is like, pick me up. And then Beatrice like picks him up and sets him on her shoulders. And he's like telling people like, you need to be in our group because you're like talented with a fighter. You're also a fighter. Y'all figure it out. Rock, paper, scissors. And like, you guys know if you let this go to fruition, this conversation is not going to get done in time before you're supposed to have your groups finished.
The curse of fame.
What do you do?
I'm just gonna like stand on the table to get height, and I'm gonna look around the room for maybe groups that haven't been finished.
Sure. You look around. A lot of groups seem like they're already completed and they're like talking to each other and strategizing. Like they have a table to themselves. There's like 4 to 7 people in most. Some of them are at 8. And a lot of them look like they're not even looking for people. There are a couple that you see that like are looking for people, and that's Billy's group, and you're immediately like, that guy's a fucking dork. No. And you look around and you see our wallflowers in the back. You see Lucian sort of off to himself. You see Athira and Rosari sitting at a table. You see Leo probably walking that way. And I think that's it right now.
Lucian shifted near Kieran. if he was still standing against that back
So yeah,
wall.
you guys sort of merge together. You guys are still close to that table, but there's the two sitting at the table, the two standing up, and then one walking towards it. And you're like, they're one of the only groups that look like they literally either don't want to be here or don't want to make a group. Everybody else is like, groups finished, done. Give me a perception check, actually. I'm gonna see if there's anything else you get from this.
10.
10. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to notice that there's actually a table with only 2 people. It is a who was your roommate again?
It was Delphina.
You see Delphina sitting at a table with a like taller, skinny guy with like medium length, wavy, dark hair. He's got like this emo look about him, like he's wearing all black clothes, and he's like sitting there, and they are like talking and flirting, and you clock that, and you're like, that's one of the only other groups I saw that look like they're looking for people or don't have enough. Do you want to intrude on that? You don't know.
Well, if it looks like they're flirting,
Oh yeah.
no.
It takes 0 insight to know that they are flirting. She's mostly flirting.
Then yeah, I'll just kind of leave them be. And then I guess the next best bet would be the wallflower looking people in the back.
Sure. You start heading over to them. And then our last 2, I believe, Kieran and Lucian. Lucian shifted over towards Kieran a little bit. I'll let you guys decide what you do from there. But it's very clear that you're very low on options being in the back of the room. Most people were either already in a group or quickly formed. What are you doing? You have like very little time to act.
I look at Kieran. Look, let's not make a big deal of this, but let's just do this thing.
Doing a thing. That's my favorite thing to do. And I extend my hand under as to grab his. Kieran, pleasure to meet you.
I immediately dodge to the left as his hand comes out, and I kind of hold mine up, and I go, Lucian. And I step back.
Okay, I'm a rogue. I'm not going to shank you just because I'm beside you. I do that if I'm mad at you, not when I introduce myself.
Right. We can introduce from afar. Thanks. And he kind of looks you up and down.
I will say at this point, you guys are having this conversation. Those of you who are traveling to this back table, so we have Leo, we have Gwen, we have Marcel. You guys have arrived at this point. You show up to that table, and you also, pretty much all of you know that Kieran and Lucian are sort of like off to the side, like literally like 15 feet away. So I'll let Lucian and Kieran continue, but you guys are also free to sort of like join up at any point.
I look at people approaching us and I go, oh, looks like my splendor is starting to get everyone around me.
Oh, God. Like, Lucian just doesn't know what to say for a moment. He says, what? I mean, I guess we don't have very many options. Let's move over that way, yeah?
I guess so. And I shift around a bit and say, well, at least we're all handsome here. As I sit down at the table.
And very quickly, Rosaris and Athera, you were just barely getting your introductions, like, hey, we both know Kata, my name's Rosaris, my name's Athera. Right as you're getting that, maybe before Rosaris even sat down, this all happened very fast because you had such a short time limit. You guys are swarmed with 5 other people. All coming from different directions.
I'm going to instinctively, like, stand beside Athera with, like, my back to hers and just, like, looking at everyone approaching, like, guarded stance.
Yeah, I will stay, and I'm, like, still sitting down. I never stood up, but I'm, like, very uncomfortable with the fact that I am now sitting surrounded by a bunch of people who are standing.
I'm sitting.
I'm sitting on the table.
Doesn't make me feel better.
Very quickly, Kieran sits down. Marcel sits on the table. The rest of you file in together, almost like making a circle. Or I should say, like, filling in the circle. So it's not like they're surrounding you guys, but with all 7 of you, you make a sort of circle around this table. So Rosaris is getting protective. Athera's sort of reserved about it. Marcel's comfortable. Kieran's comfortable. how does this proceed from here?
So Lucian is probably kind of being really quiet and a little bit distracted. And anybody who might look at him or for a couple seconds would probably see his eyes fade to like just pure white. And he would be checking, like merging with the familiar he has in the rafters, moving around the groups, listening, trying to gather whatever information he can about what maybe they're planning, who's together, who's with who. So that's what he's doing.
Hell yeah. Give me a perception check for sure.
While he's doing that, I'm going to be doing almost the same thing. Like, one, I'm tracking where Kata went, seeing who's in her group. And then I'm going to be looking specifically for, like, oh, a few marshals together in that group, a few casters in that group.
Sure.
And then while I do that, I'm going to say, Rosari's paladin, kind of absentmindedly.
As you're keeping an eye on the group, I'll let you also make a perception check. Lucian, what was yours?
18.
18. Solid. I'm not going to give you any information now, but as we continue with the activity, whatever that might be, if you want to make any observations about people, I'll let you like at least one or two groups. You're like, I know at least their proficiencies and their strategy, like what their characters are good at. Rosari's was specifically looking for like marshals and class orientation. What'd you get?
I got a 12.
Sick. Okay. You might pick out a couple. I'm going to say with a 12, you specifically look at Kata's party. Looking there, she is with the white dragonborn girl who you assume to be either a fighter or paladin. You're not sure which. You don't see any like religious regalia on her, but it's one of those two. You see the little goblin who you're like, he's small. If he's that, if they're fighting to have him in the group, he's got to be like smart or sneaky. One of those two. Pietro, your roommate, and the guy with tan skin, both of them are probably just fighters. Like, that's your best guess. The guy with tan skin might be a monk. He doesn't seem to be wearing armor, but your best guess. The shorter girl, like 5 foot with the like pixie cut red hair, you definitely assume that she's a caster of some sorts. Wizard, sorcerer, one of those. And then you know Barry's a bard. So you get all of that information looking around, and then you also see like a couple other groups, and you're like, they all look pretty spread out. Like, it doesn't look like anyone's stacking up on one type, except for Simon and his group, of course.
Easy target, got it.
Yeah. The rest of you, how are you guys handling this interaction starting?
As Lucian's eyes like rolled back in his head, Marcel's like his fingers trying to get as close to his eyes, saying like, does he see us? Does he?
On an 18 perception, you see Marcel like getting his fingers close to you.
My eyes like dissipate almost back to normal, and I just glare at you. And for a moment, I'm like, I'm talking to my chicken, and they go back.
Guys, you can talk to chicken. We're gonna win.
You guys got room, yeah?
We have room for you. Kieran's gonna stand up, and he's gonna twirl a dagger and stab in the table and say, "Welcome to my party. How are you all doing today? I am Kieran."
As you do that, Professor Lumis appears behind you, taps you on the shoulder, and he says, "Hey, please don't stab my tables," and then disappears again.
Wow.
I just kind of like freeze up a bit. Recomposure.
So,
Sorry.
Again, to describe what he looks like, he's like a 6'1" high elf with like long white hair. He's got like the sharp sort of angular face, very thin build, wearing very nice like navy and silver robes. But he just like leans forward, taps you on the shoulder. You didn't even know he was there. You guys watch him appear like he was either invisible or teleported. Say that, and then he's gone just as fast.
I recomposure and I say again, "But once again, welcome to my table and my party. You all have different tasks and goals in mind, and we shall work together for that money perfectly."
Lucian kind of vomits a little in his mouth and takes a step to the side, even with his vision focused elsewhere.
Athera, like, kind of cocks her head and goes, "Pretty sure you were here last."
I was watching you congregate.
Just saying.
Come on.
And she kind of like leans back. I'm assuming Rosarius is still standing behind.
I'm still standing basically at your hip.
And I'll be like, "Did you catch what the point of all this was?
I don't think we've been told yet. And I hope we get told soon.
I'm with you there.
As you guys are getting to this point in the conversation, Professor or Director Lumis appears back on the front stage, and the talk and chatter very quickly quiets down as he says, all right. So here's the plan. You guys have formed your groups. Fantastic. I love it. Here's what you're going to do. Some professors are going to walk around. They're going to hand out some pieces of paper. These papers are going to have 13 questions on them. Your job is to be the first group back here with the answers to all of these questions or the requirements that the question asks of you. And the first group back who completes all of the 13 questions and doesn't murder any other students will win the prize of, again, 1,000 gold pieces and a bag of holding. Well, with that, and as you guys are sitting there, like, listening to this, Professor Corinth, the fox woman, walks up to you guys, slides a blank sheet of paper on the table, looks over at Gwen. She's like, good luck, guys. Gives you a sort of wink, and then walks away. You guys watch as Director Lumis says, let's let the fun begin. And he disappears again. And as he disappears, you guys get a little item that I'm going to pull up now. If I could find it. I think it's in a different page.
So the headmaster guy, director,
Lumis,
has
yeah.
he been completely out of sight during the time the groups were forming?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll say that all of you are sort of like leaning over looking at this, but who is, for lack of a better term, taking point on this? Like, who's holding the paper and like maybe reading it to everyone?
Points Lucian. He can talk to Chicken. I trust him.
If I do look at the paper and I glance at it before I take it, how many of these answers would I know just from, being a proactive student who would study something like this?
I'm going to say, let's leave that down to a history check. You're the only one allowed to make this because you're the only one who would have done research on the school beforehand.
All right. Shit. All right. Well, it was 4 plus 7, 11.
11. I think I can give you a couple answers for that. You would know off the top of your head that, let's get some of the more like menial and boring ones out of the way. The west wing of the academy building, that is dedicated to one, martial centered classes. So, your like combat training, your weight rooms, that sort of stuff. There's a lot of like practice dummies in there. There's sparring rooms. There's like a huge open fighting area. That's where a lot of like the barbarian, fighter, and even some paladin classes are. It is also home to the healing magic classes and clerical studies. Not a coincidence. The other one is there are 2 cast buildings. The west cast building that you came in from was Res Life, and you also knew that the other cast building was for, that's the adventuring office. That's where you guys will get your assignments to go out adventuring places. So those 2 just off the top of your head. Like, you glance at the list and you're immediately like, got it.
What was the second one?
The cast buildings, west is Res Life, east is adventuring.
Okay. And then, so the hawk that was flying around the room.
Yeah.
Seeing this list now, I was kind of already thinking about following them around. The nerdy group, the really nerdy that nobody liked group, I feel like they probably have half the answers to this thing, so the hawk is looking over there.
Give me another perception check from the hawk.
19.
Hell yeah. Let me take a quick second to sort of see what answers that they would have written down already, and then I'll give those to you right now. You guys are going over this list together. I'll let you guys talk.
All right, so I know for sure that The 6th one is the martial training classes in healing/clerical studies, and the 8th one is Westwife, I think, and adventuring.
Oh, nice. See, I knew to pick the right guy, huh? Speaking of chickens, really help.
my like eyebrow will twitch and a vein will pop out of the corner of like my temple area.
I'm going to look at Leo and ask him, you have any idea about number 7 with those, greater deities at the chapel?
I'm not too terribly positive.
I suppose you probably would have needed to be there rather than knowing off the top of your head.
Cheers.
Very good work, everyone. Really wonderful.
Lucian, looking through your Hawk Familiar's eyes, your Dragon Hawk, I should say, you notice that they have the 2 answers that you already had, and they also have 2 more. So I'll give you these. Number 2, what is the name of the statue in Andhra Plaza? Is Vidrani Andhra. You don't necessarily recognize the name, but you do get it, and you could write it down. The other question, 11, what is the name of the lake directly to the west of the school? Or not 11, sorry, 12. That is Isoline Lake. And I sent you both of those so that you can copy and paste them.
Okay. And the second group that I would have followed around may not have any answers, but it would be the one that I saw people being ushered over here from. It seems like they were pushing a lot of these guys over to our group. So
yeah. So the one with Kada, Barry, and the other people. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. I will put a little bookmark by them.
Right. So I also, looking through my not chicken, have noticed that number 2 is Vidrani Andhra, and number 12 is Isoline Lake.
Oh, write that down.
Right. If any of you else would like to contribute here, I'd appreciate it.
5 residential buildings. Which student lives in each?
As you guys are talking, you see multiple groups either leave as a group, like there's some that are 4 or 5 that are walking together. The group that's big that you're keeping an eye on, Lucian, very quickly they split into 2, 2, 3 and leave out of the room. And a lot of other groups do the same thing, where they're like leaving the room at this point. There are a couple left with you, but a lot of people are dipping.
Hey, guys, maybe we should head to the Magic Garden and bring a leaf.
Hold on.
Because we can't do it here.
How
We
about
should
I
do
go
like the
there?
others and split.
Probably
Yeah.
the fastest one here. I'll get over there, get that quickly, and we can meet at the Nura house. How about?
Wait, save ourselves some time. I can send Lune for the leaf, and I can also have Lune look at the tree in the center of Roche Plaza. He can do that quickly, being able to fly. We can focus on the others.
I guess so.
Is your bird gonna be able to identify a tree?
I can see the images that he sees, and we can go from there.
Are you writing the answers down, wizard friend?
Of course I am.
And
And you see
by the way,
McQuill on the middle of the table, just filling in the blanks.
By the way, I live in Placides Hall, if that helps for number 13.
Is there a painting there with the greatest magic?
I would assume you would have more experience with the greatest magic rather than the Marshall building.
Well, I don't.
I don't think he's a miracle worker.
Look, I've already got 4 of the answers. What are you guys doing? But DM, I am going to send the bird, since they split and there's no reason to follow their group as much. He's going to go for the leaf, and
Sure.
he's going to just glance at that tree to shoot the image back to me when he comes back within range.
Yep.
Person who stabbed the table, I believe you said your name was Kieran. You might look into number 1. I have a feeling you might be meeting them often anyways.
I mean, is it a bad assumption to assume that we would see the director if we broke any rules?
Do we want to leave our answers up to assumptions?
Good point.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright.
I live in Carnegie Hall, so if somebody wants to go with me, we can count practice rooms.
Sure. I'll go. Sounds fun.
Thea looks like, oh no.
I can head to the chapel.
I can follow.
I think for number one, anybody can get that question by walking by any teacher or anybody who's been around here.
Does anyone know what the Parkins building is or where that would be? I wouldn't happen to have walked by it with,
Nope.
what's his name? Dang.
Actually, who was getting led around by Sivik?
Me and Leo.
Yeah.
Okay, Leo's for longer. I'm gonna let you roll for this. It's literally just a flat luck check. Just give me a D20 roll. On an 11 or higher, you guys talked about the Parkins building. On a 10 or lower, you didn't.
12.
12. Yeah, he mentioned that the Parkins building was for artificers, but it's not like he clarified, oh, the basement's for this. But he mentioned that the Parkins building, top floor and the basement, are both artificer stuff.
My roommate said that the Parkins building is artificer stuff.
I will go there and figure out what's in the basement.
I have one more thing before you guys go that I think, and I'm kind of gonna glance at, I think it was Kieran that was against the back wall and seemed a little more, I don't know, sneakily inclined. And I'm gonna say, I think that there's no way we can succeed with all 13 of these by splitting up. I think that we're gonna have to use other abilities. Maybe somebody who's sneaky can take a peek at some of the other pages when they do all the hard work for us.
I have a question.
That's a good call.
Is there a rule saying we can't burn other people's papers?
The only
You said
rule
don't
that was
kill anybody.
stated was don't kill anybody.
Oh.
So we can potentially slow them down.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't mind if it is sabotage.
Mm.
I mean, they didn't say we couldn't fight either. I just can't kill them. Wait.
Can't
How
kill
about
people.
this? I'll go around to the smart kids. I will take a jot at their piece of paper, and then I'll burn it. And if they get mad at me, I'll put a little bit of a dagger in their thigh and run away.
They've already
Sounds
seen
good.
that paper. They already have the same answers we do.
Okay, then the other people. We'll go around and see who has what. Do I like any like the last group leaving the building kind of thing?
There's still one or two groups in here with you guys. Let me pull up the list of the groups. Kata's group immediately dipped. Danny and Sivik's group, he led them off. They're gone. There's still one group of 5 with 2 guys, 3 girls that are sitting there talking very casually. It looks like they're strategizing about like who goes where. And then there is another group who is splitting up right now to leave. There's 8 of them, and they're splitting into 4 groups of 2.
I'm going to follow the 2 that have the piece of paper of that group.
Sure. I'm gonna say go ahead and give me a stealth check. First thing.
I swear to fucking God. Oh, thank God. 19. Okay. Okay, we're good.
Cool. Yeah, you sort of follow. You get an eye on who has the paper, and you follow them at a distance. The 2 people you're following, I have reference pictures for everybody, so I'll pull them up. Are this guy and
Ooh.
a dwarf with him with like long blonde hair.
What are these guys?
So you have one who's definitely like taller, more athletic. He looks very, I guess formal would be the word for it. Like his hair is sort of slicked back. He looks like his armor was very well cleaned. He has like a cape on. And the other guy looks to be like a dwarf who looks a little more sly. He's got lighter clothes on. He's keeping an eye out right now, but it seems like you managed to give him the slip. You stay at a distance. but you leave and follow them.
I'm going to do like an inconspicuous follow. Not like I'm sneaking, but like I'm in the area, quote unquote, ignoring them, but I'm not, you
Yeah,
know?
For sure.
That's more my style of stealth, I'd say.
Cool. What's everybody else doing?
Yeah, Marcel's heading to Carnegie Hall, trying to count the rooms.
Cool. Marcel, are you leaving alone? Who's going with you? Was it Athira?
I thought Athira's was going.
Yeah, I'm going. And I'm just, looking a little bit like not sure about having Marcel with me.
I was going to the chapel.
Marcel also turned to Lucien and say, "Hey, make sure you keep that paper safe."
One question as we all split, real quick. The 5 residential buildings, I feel like we all have the answers to that. What are the buildings you stay in?
Placities.
As Warlock, I stay with all the other magic guys, like wizards and stuff. What is it called? He looks.
Mine is, fuck, I wrote it down. I really did.
Carnegie?
No, that's for Bart.
No,
Whoops.
wait. It's on a different piece of paper. Hold on, I got it. I have so many notes.
Lucien looked at her. Oh! Marcel outsmarted me, asking me the question.
Sherish Hall. Sherish Hall.
I'll
Yeah,
let you
that's
know
the one.
it's pronounced Sarosh Hall, but I know you took it.
Sarosh.
Yeah.
Roche.
I'm in Xanthal, yeah. I forgot the name.
I
DM
will confirm names, but I will not give you an answer. But yes, you were in Xanthal.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard.
All right, we got 2. Where are the rest of you at?
Oh boy.
I was in.
Well, you don't know the
Carnegie.
building you've stayed in? Carnegie. Okay.
Yes.
I'm in Placities.
Placides. One more. There's 7 of us here.
Lucien, give me another history check.
That's it. That's all right. Oh, natural 1.
You don't know. And you're
Yeah,
the
the paper
only
risk.
you're the only one here who would have known.
Oof.
But you rolled that. You know what? You know how I told you that 18 that you rolled for perception for your Dragonhawk familiar? I will let you forfeit that knowledge about the other groups to get the answer to this last one.
What, the
Okay.
final group?
Yeah,
No,
the final building.
Do I have to lose the 2 I already knew from the I stole from
No.
the 4
You would have to lose. You know how I told you, like, I'd give you information regarding some of the parties and like who they are and what they do.
Oh, this is such a bad thing to use it on, but sure.
Let's go. Forfeiting that knowledge between your own knowledge and looking at other people's papers, you know that the 5th residential buildings is actually locked. First years are not allowed to be in it. Second years are not allowed to be in it. It is the Baron Dorm Hall, Beren. It is reserved for upperclassmen wizard students.
Fancy, I like that building. Anyway,
It's very small. Obviously, most people don't care about it, but to wizards, it is like, if I get to live there, that means that, like, I'm doing something right.
the Baron Dorm Hall. Okay,
Honest.
we've got that. Now we can split up. There's only 7 answers left. We can each take one. I've got the Dragonhawk on 2 of them. I will
The
work on the
people in-
painting.
The people in Xanthal are rangers, rogues, and artificers, by the way.
Yeah, because we also explained the students of each house.
Which answer was that? Was that an answer?
Yeah.
She said Xanth was rangers, rogues,
Rangers,
and artificers.
rogues, and artificers.
Artificers. Cartographers.
Forgot that
So
that was a
that
2-part
was-
question. That's confusing. Sorry.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Placities is the marshals, barbarians, paladins,
Monk.
fighters, and monks.
Carnegie Hall was what?
Bards and druids. I don't know if there's a third one.
Leo.
Leo.
Carnegie
Sorry.
Hall. What's in it?
I was reading it.
Where?
But I don't remember.
Do you live there?
Oh,
What am I?
no. Oh, I'm a. The fuck am I? I'm a cleric. Sorry, I was reading these questions. Like, which one am I gonna do? Clerics? Clerics are there?
What building do you live in?
Carnegie.
So, Lucian, I believe clerics also live in Carnegie.
Had to pry it out of you.
Sorry, I was reading.
My man was paying attention.
Leo's eyes were like wall-eyed for a second. He was like trying to think really hard. What am
What
I?
am I? It's like I'm no longer a rogue.
All right, well, that gives us, what, 6 of the answers now, right?
Yeah.
So we just need to each find basically one. Okay, I'm gonna go for the painting.
I'm getting the music practice rooms.
I hate to ask, but if somebody who's better with people, maybe come with me, we can probably just ask about this one.
No, sure, I'll go.
All right. Oh God! And I look at the. I realize you just said that.
Wait, I thought Marcel was going to count.
I know,
music
but
rooms.
counting rooms is not as hard as dealing with people.
I'm gonna look at Gwen and say I could take the chapel as what I study.
We could go together.
Oh, we could do that. Let's go.
She's eating as she's saying that.
Cake.
Don't get tummy cakes.